Well, you heard it all, and here's Soccer Cole for the first round. All right, Soccer.
In a second, we'll hear the bell. The boys are dancing in their corners. The bell, and they enter the center of the ring. Sharkey with his hands well up. Joe slouching in as usual. Sharkey tries with the left, and they trade left. They circle in the center of the ring. They stand cautiously. There's no rushing in trading. Sharkey tries into short with a straight left. Joe hits Jack with a right crossover, just like Schmeling hit him, but not an effective punch. Joe comes in with a straight right and a left to Sharkey's head. The right over us. He lands a left to Sharkey's body and a right chop to the chin and a right and a left to the body. Sharkey lands a right uppercut to Joe's face and to his body and a left hook to the side of his head, and they tangle. Arthur Donovan separates them. They're both very cool. Jack tries with a straight left. He takes two straight rights to the side of the head, then a straight and a very hard right to the chin. He comes back in gamely with a right to the body, and they tangle. They're squaring off in the center of the ring, boxing with each other. Joe feints with his body. He feints again with his body. Jack short to the left. Joe tries with a wild right and misses. Jack weaves inside, lands a right hand to the body. They're standing close. Joe lands a left hook to the body and a right cross to the head and a right cross to the head and a right cross to the head. And he's laying Sharkey back over the rope. Very gamely, Jack pushes him out there in the center of the ring, squared off again. Sharkey's feinting with the body, but Joe doesn't fall. He's short with the left hand, trying to pull punches from Sharkey. They're both being very cautious. Now out in the center of the ring. Jack leads with a long left. Not there. He tries with a wild right and circles Joe's neck. He tries with an inside right hand uppercut in close, pushes Joe to the ropes. Arthur Donovan, the referee, pulls him back. Jack tries with the left and misses. He tries the left hook and misses. The punch is really to keep Joe off or to draw a punch from him. Sharkey standing with his back against the rope. He weaves from the hips. Joe tries with the right and misses, but lands a short right follow-up. Puts Jack to the ropes. Jack pushes him out to the center of the ring, puts his head under Joe's chin, and they're out in the center of the rope. The referee finds it unnecessary to break them. The boys are standing sparring for an opening in the center of the ring. Joe tries again with the left hook. Jack steps back. They're right over our heads here now. Joe tries with the left hook and lands an inside short right chop to the side of the head. They're clinched now right above the microphone. Joe is pushed back to the center of the ring by Jack Sharkey. Jack takes a straight left to the chin. They're sparring in the center of the ring for an opening. Joe is being breaky. He lands a straight left to Jack's chin. Jack weaves inside, drops low, but takes a right hand from Joe. He pushes Joe against the ropes on the far side of the ring. Joe pushes him away, and they're sparring for an opening in the center of the ring. Joe is short with a straight left. They're sparring in the center of the ring under the microphone. He's short with a straight left. He lands a straight left to Sharkey's chin. Now Jack tries with left again. He's short. He takes a light left to the face as he comes into a clinch and works on Joe's body. Right, left, and pushes Joe into the ropes in this corner. They're out in the center of the ring once more. He lands a straight left to Joe's face and takes a light left in return. He lands another left to Joe's eye. Joe lands a straight left. They're sparring now. The punches are very heavy. Jack feinted with his right hand, but Joe stepped back. There was no punches landed. Jack feinted again with his right hand, but Joe didn't step back. Jack lands a straight left, another straight left to the head. Not heavy punches. He's pulling some punches from Joe now. He's feinting very cleverly and very scientifically, weaving with the body and feinting with the hand. And he's doing a very fine job of it. Joe tried with the left and right to the head. Both punches misses. Jack drops inside, lays close on the chest. Arthur separates them. They're standing over our heads in the center of the ring, and Joe tries a right to the head and a left to the body, the latter landing as the bell rings. Jack chops a left to the head, and here is Ted Husing. Now they're hanging on the ropes, each seated on his chair, very calm, both of them. There's the bell. They come to the center of the ring. Jack puts his hands up well in time. He wipes his nose cautiously, stands out in the center of the ring, feints again with that, swings from the hips. Joe is laying back, watching for an opening. He tries with a very light left hook. Doesn't mean it. He tries another left hook, and Jack lands a nice straight left to Joe's face. Now he's weaving there, and Joe Louis is a little puzzled by that weaving. Sharkey slips in under Joe and lands two rights to the body. They're in there nudging at each other now. That Arthur Donovan splits them out. They're feinting there. Sharkey feint from the hips. Joe leads a straight left to Jack's chin. Not a hard punch. Jack lands in return a straight left. Jack takes a left. He takes another left coming in. Joe misses with a sharp uppercut. Joe hits a hook to the left ear, and they're in there trading punches now, right and left, but they miss. Jack lands a straight left to Joe's eye. Their backs are to the microphone here now, and Joe tries with a very hard left, but Jack evades the punch by slipping underneath. In close, he lands a short left chop to Joe's head. He lands a straight left and takes a straight left. He slips under Joe's hands, and they go into a clinch. It's not necessary to split them out. They're in the center of the ring, feinting. Watchfully, two fine athletes here. Joe tries with a long left. He tries to a long left to Sharkey's left eye, and it lands. Now they feint. Jack pulls a punch and makes Joe miss. He takes a light left to the head, slips inside Joe's hands, tries to pummel with the right and left, but Joe's too clever and ties him up. They back to the ropes, the rope of the microphone. Joe tries with a vicious right and misses. He lands, however, a left hook to the head coming in, and then a right to the side of the head. Jack takes the punches beautifully, pushes him out, and then takes a straight left to the face, another straight left to the face, and slides in the beautiful right-hand punch to the heart and a left to the head. And Joe lands a hard right to the chin and a left to the chin and misses a right and lands a terrific left hook on Sharkey's face. Jack's against the ropes, bent over. Oh, Joe Louis, left, right to Sharkey's head. Sharkey comes back with a beautiful left hand on the face. Now he's weaving out of danger's path. He's standing against the rope and take a terrific right and a knockdown. Sharkey down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jack's on his knees. 7, 8. Jack getting up. 9. Jack's up over the microphone here, and Lewis charges across the ring. He lands a terrific left to his body and hits Sharkey with a right. Jack is weaving, takes a left to the chin, a left to the chin, a right to the head, and he's down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jack's on one knee, hang on the ropes. 8, 9, he's up. Lewis from the neutral corner charges across. He's measuring his man now. Jack is very game. He lands a left to Sharkey's face, a right to Sharkey's ear. And then Sharkey does a Leon arrow way across the ring. His legs are a little bit weak from that punch. He takes a left to the eye, a left to the face, a left to the eye, a bad right to the body, and a left hook to the face. He's against the ropes, coming out gamely, courageous. Takes a left and lands a left. He jabs to Lewis's cheek. He jabs again to Lewis's cheek, and Lewis misses with a wild left. Sharkey lands an inside right to Lewis's chin, a left hook to his face. This is a night that Sharkey's in, and he's fighting like a champion. A straight left to his face, and there's the bell. And here is Ted Husing.
Stocker, that was really a great round. There's no doubt about it. The crowd enjoyed it. Sharkey, beginning the round, was forcing Lewis to slow down, to fight the fight that Sharkey wanted. He was a sort of a sneering, domineering Sharkey. He had Louis worried because Joe Louis was forcing the fighting. But Sharkey, in return, in retaliation, was light in those blows. Suddenly, from nowhere at all, as Sharkey spun around, we noticed his left eye was cut. Light drops of blood were pouring down, and then, before you could say Jack Robinson, that right ripped out, caught him high on the chin, and dropped him right down here in front of the microphone for a 9 count. As Arthur Donovan waved the count to 8, Sharkey got up a little wobbly, almost at the 10 count, got up, forced a little bit for a second, then took some more. Another right again brought him down for an 8 count, but this time he came up with his eyes clear. And then by forcing his left out, almost in one of those last-minute gestures, he kept his man away. And now as they come out for the 3rd round, we're going to give you Soccer Cole.
The 3rd round, Lewis very calmly, Jack coming out very strong, very confident-looking. The spar for an opening the center of the ring. Jack recedes from the attacking Brown Bomber. Looks like Lewis is coming back on that Brown Bomber title in the center of the ring for an opening. Jack is weaving, and it bothers Joe. Joe's being very careful. He lands a straight left and a hard right hand, and Sharkey's down against the rope. He swung over the lower rope to count 4, 6, 7, 8. Jack is up again. Arthur Donovan, the referee, wipes off his gloves, and he faces the Brown Bomber, who comes in charging with his left hand extended and tries with a hard right. He hooks a left to Sharkey's chin, and Jack lands a left. Sharkey is hit. There he goes on the chin, and he's fallen before us over the microphone for another knockdown. He's sitting here, taking his mouth guard out, shaking his head. It doesn't look as though he may make it this time. He's 9, 10, and out. 10 and out. Jack made a good fight of it. They're in the center of the ring now, and I'm going to send Ted Husing up into the organization there. Of course, the crowd has gone mad with excitement. The Brown Bomber, once again, is the Brown Bomber, and I'm going to send Ted into the ring to give you the lowdown on what's happening. Take it away, Ted Husing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Joe Louis has done it again. He's on the comeback trail. Joe, will you say a word to the audience?
1 minute.
Oh, everybody, I'm glad I win.
That was Joe Louis's brief statement. You must have something more to say, Joe. You really fought a magnificent
Well, I
battle.
hope I win. Ran the right to go back to the championship anyway.
Fine out, Joe. Okay. Joe Louis has just been pulled out by Harry Balo. I'm going to turn it back to Soccer Cole. Perhaps for just a moment he can give you an analysis.
Well, the analysis is that the Brown Bomber was the Brown Bomber of old. He was beautifully timed. He was completely confident. And don't think that he had an easy fighter to lick, because Jack put up a good, stiff fight. He was very fast. He weaved beautifully from the hips. He moved around the ring well. His feints were working just like a Swiss watch. And he did a grand job out of this fight. The point is that the old Brown Bomber was the Brown Bomber of old. I'm interested now particularly in recalling to Eugene Tunney's comment just before the boys went into the ring. This Joe Louis is the best prize fight prospect that has been seen in a great many years. What happened in the Schmeling fight may have been overconfidence or may have been any one of a dozen things. But tonight he was the Brown Bomber of old. And the beating that he'd taken from Schmeling in no wise interfered with his high courage, his fine boxing in the ring. He timed himself perfectly. He punched straight and punched hard and punched short. And he beat a very good fighter tonight. Jack Sharkey, don't dismiss with a shrug, because he did a fine job. He worked hard, he worked fast, and he took a lot of punishment. I think, as I recall it, there were 4 knockdowns. And Jack got up from all of them and tried to get up from the last one. They're leaving the ring now. And Sharkey looking pretty disconsolate, but nevertheless nothing to be ashamed of.
Jack Sharkey, will you say a word?
Well, I don't think there's very much that one can say after a defeat. Naturally, one's depressed quite a bit. All that I can say is give the other man credit. Youth must be served, of course, naturally. But the same boast that I made the other day would have been carried through years ago, of course, to say youth must be served. So evidently, from the looks of tonight's outcome, someone made a mistake.
Thank you, Jack Sharkey. That was very gentlemanly of you. For a man of his age, he fought a very, very beautiful fight. He was in excellent condition. He was as lean as a panther, but he was just in there with a better, younger man. And a good young man, I think, can always bring down a good old man. And that's the way you'll have to sum it up.